皆様お待たせいたしました。それでは本日のプレスブリーフィングを始めさせていただきます。
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting. Let's start the press briefing for today.
2013年の日本の空き家数が過去最高を記録しました。防犯や防災面で周囲に悪影響を及ぼす問題空き家の増加が全国的な課題となる中、今月26日には空き家対策特別措置法が全面施行され、国や自治体による本格的な対策が始動します。
The number of vacant houses in Japan has reached a record high in 2013. The increase of these so-called problematic vacant houses, which has a bad impact on the community in areas such as crime and disaster prevention, is becoming a national issue. Against this backdrop, the Vacant Houses Special Measures Act is going to take full effect on the 26th of May, and the countermeasures by the national and local governments is going to start in earnest.
本日は、住宅土地政策がご専門の株式会社富士通総研経済研究所の米山秀隆上席主任研究員にお越しいただき、空き家問題の現状とその背景、そして今後の対策等についてお話を伺います。
Today we have invited Mr. Hidetaka Yoneyama, Senior Research Fellow of the Fujitsu Research Institute, and he specializes in the housing and real estate policy of Japan, and he will talk about the issue about vacant houses, the current status, and the future countermeasures.
なお本日の通訳者は株式会社インターグループの辻信子さんです。
I'm Tsuji of Intergroup. I'll serve as your interpreter.
皆様には携帯電話をマナーモードにしていただきますようにお願いいたします。
So for those who are participating, please switch your cell phones to manual mode.
それでは米山さんよろしくお願いいたします。
Mr. Yoneyama, please.
富士通総研の米山でございます。本日の内容ですけれども、まず空き家の現状についてお話しいたしまして、その後空き家発生に伴ってどのような問題が発生しているのか、それから法律のお話で、最後今後の課題のお話をいたします。
So, good morning. I am Yoneyama from the Fujitsu Research Institute. Today's topic is, as shown here, the current situation for vacant houses, the problems arising from vacant houses, the Vacant Houses Special Measures Act, and future issues.
まず空き家の現状です。
First, let me touch upon the current situation for vacant houses.
2013年時点の日本全国の空き家率は 13.5%。これは過去最高の水準です。
So, as of 2013, the ratio of vacant houses nationwide was 13.5%, and this has been a record high number.
空き家の数は820万戸です。
The number of vacant houses is 8.2 million.
これも過去最高です。
Again, this is a record high number.
で、このグラフを見ますと、過去一貫して日本の空き家率は上昇を続けてきています。
So, if you take a look at this graph, you can see that from the past, consistently, the ratio of vacant houses has been rising.
で住宅の数とそれから世帯の数をこのグラフで示してあります。赤が総住宅数、それからピンクがですね、総世帯数で、これを見ますと1958年、63年までは、住宅よりは世帯の数の方が多い、つまりまだ住宅不足の時代でした。
So this graph shows the total number of houses and the total number of households. The darker red bar is the total number of houses. The lighter red bar is the total number of households. If you take a look at this, back until 1958 to 1963, the number of households surpassed that of number of houses, meaning that there was still a lack of housing supply back in these years.
ですからこの時代の 2% という空き家率はまだ住宅が足りない状態で非常に低い状態でした。
So back at this time, the ratio of vacant houses was 2%, so houses were lacking, so this ratio was very low.
その後、高度成長期に入りまして、人口が増えます。大都市への集中も進みます。それに伴って住宅の建設戸数は増えてきまして、総住宅数も増えてきました。
So then Japan has entered a high economic growth era. Then the population increased. There was more and more concentration of people into the major metropolitan areas. The number of houses constructed increased. So you can see that the number of houses has started to go up.
で、世帯の数を住宅の数が上回るようになって、以前は住宅市場で全くゆとりがない状態でしたけれども、ゆとりが生まれる状態になりました。
And this led to a situation that the number of houses surpassed that of the number of households. Before this, the housing market was tight, but after this era, the situation eased a bit.
で90年代の初め、93年ぐらいまでは空き家率の上昇に歯止めがかかり始めたという時代もありました。
And up until 1993, there was a period that in which the ratio of vacant houses has the rise of this was more or less modified.
この数値で収まっていればまだ問題は少なかったと考えられます。
So if the ratio has stayed at this level about in 1993, I think this would not have been an issue.
ところが90年代終わりから2000年代初め以降、地方の方で人口世帯の減少が始まりまして、条件の悪いところから空き家が増え始めました。
But in the late 1990s to the early 2000s, the population in the regional areas and the number of households in these areas started to decline. And with the more poor conditioned houses has started to become vacant.
そして最近では大都市でも郊外、あるいは都心部でも条件の悪い地域、そういった地域、大都市でも空き家が増え始めています。
And more recently, even in the major metropolitan areas, the suburban areas of major metropolitan areas, and even in the city center, when the condition or the location is bad, vacant houses have started to increase.
日本では人口はすでに減少していますが、世帯の数はまだ減少していません。日本全国では。
And in Japan, overall, the actual population is decreasing, but the number of households has not started to decrease yet.
それは人口は減っても一人暮らしとか世帯の小型化が進んでいるからです。
This is because even though the population has decreased, the number of households, for instance, single people living alone, or the number of family members in a single household has declined.
で、日本で世帯数が減少に転ずるのは2019年をピークとして減少していきます。
So 2019 will be the year that the number of households in Japan will hit the peak, and then after that it will start to decline.
こうした要因が働くため、今後も空き家率の増加には歯止めがかからないというふうに考えられます。
So because of these factors, it is thought that the ratio of vacant houses will continue to rise.
で、空き家は820万戸ありますけれども、実は古い住宅が空き家になる一方、日本では毎年80万、最近でも80万戸から90万戸の新築の家が建てられています。
So they are 8.2 million vacant houses, and these number of houses are increasing. But on the other hand, in Japan, there are still 800,000 to 900,000 new houses constructed each year.
空き家はたくさんあるにもかかわらず、それが使われず、新築が一方でたくさん作り続けられているという日本の住宅市場は他の国と比べて特異な状況です。
So Japan's housing market is different from other markets if you consider the fact that the number of vacant houses is on the rise, but on the other hand, there are newly built houses put in the market every year.
それでまず空き家の増加の要因ですけれども、ここでまとめてあります。まず第1点は人口が、地方から減少し始めまして、あと高齢化も進展します。それから核家族化によって、親の家が空き家になったとしても子供が引き継がない、こういった要因があります。
So this slide shows you the summary of factors for the increase in vacant houses. The population is declining, especially in the regions. The population is aging, and the tendency towards living as a nuclear family, even meaning that even if the parent passes away, the children will not inherit those houses.
それから日本の住宅は特に高度成長期以降大量に供給されましたけれども、その質が十分ではありませんでした。しかも今の耐震基準を満たしておりません。
And in terms of the houses of Japan, especially built during the high economic growth period, there was a huge supply of houses, but the quality was not really good, especially they do not meet the earthquake-resistant standards of today.
で、人口増加に対応して住宅を増やすために市街地を拡散させていきましたので、今では立地条件の悪い物件も多いです。
So when the population was increasing, the number of houses was supplied especially in the suburban areas. But now it turns out that these houses located in these areas are, in terms of location, their conditions are not very favorable.
かも先ほど言いましたように新築が大量に作られておりまして、中古市場の規模が小さい。
And as I said before, there is a constant supply of new houses, and the market for new used houses is small.
したがって日本では中古住宅としての価値が持たないという物件が多いです。
And in Japan, there are a lot of houses that do not have value as used houses.
で、価値を持たないんであれば取り壊すべきですけれども、日本では税制で、取り壊さない方が有利という状態になっています。
So if the house has no value, then it is better to demolish it. But in Japan, because of the tax system, it's better not to demolish a used vacant house.
敷地に関する固定資産税ですが、これは日本では更地の場合と、それから住宅を建っていた場合では、住宅を建っていた方が最大6分の1に軽減されています。
So in terms of the property taxes on the land, if you compare the tax imposed when the land is vacant, nothing built on the top, or if there is a house built on the land, at a maximum about 1/6, if you have a house built on a plot of land, at a maximum you'll be able to minimize the tax by 1/6.
これは住宅の足りない時代に住宅取得を促進する意味がありました。
So this tax system worked when there was a lack of housing supply to promote people to buy houses.
ところが今では住宅は余っていて、この仕組みの下ではどんなに古くて、危険な状態になった空き家でも建てておいた、残しておいた方が固定資産税の軽減措置を受けられるので、危険な状態の空き家でも積極的に残しておくという効果を生んでいます。
So, but currently, what is happening that if that even if you're not using that land, but if even this vacant house is old and dangerous, if you want to get the provision for the property tax, it's better for the owner to leave that house as it is.
で、日本で中古市場の規模が小さいという数値ですけれども、日本では新築とそれから中古合わせました全体の市場のうち、中古の取引件数は2013年時点で 14.7% に過ぎません。
So I talked about how the used houses market is small in Japan. If you look at the slide, if you compare the overall share of the used houses in circulation against the overall houses that are in circulation, in 2013 it's only 14.7%.
それが例えばアメリカ、イギリス、フランスでは7割から9割が中古。
But if you go to countries like the United States, the UK, and France, 70 to 90% of houses in the market are used houses.
日本とアメリカを比較いたしますと、この赤い棒グラフの赤い部分が新築です。アメリカは日本の人口の倍以上であるにもかかわらず、新築は日本の6割ぐらいしか作っています。
So if you look at this slide on the graph on the right-hand side, and if you compare the bar between Japan and the United States, you can see, and if we compare the newly built houses between Japan and the United States, you can see that although the United States have about double the population of Japan, in terms of the new houses, newly built houses, it's only about 60% of that compared to Japan.
で、アメリカではその代わり中古の市場の規模が非常に高い。
But on the other hand, in the United States, there is a huge, bigger used house market.
日本はその逆に。
And Japan is the opposite.
で、日本の住宅は非常に寿命も短い。
And the lifespan of Japanese houses is very short.
これは取り壊された住宅が取り壊された時点で何年経過していたかを示したグラフです。
So this graph shows the average years after construction for demolished houses, homes.
日本では30年前後です。
You can see that in Japan, it's around 30 years.
アメリカでは66年。
In the United States, 66 years.
イギリスでは80年です。
And the UK is 80 years.
日本の住宅は戦前は長持ちしました。
Well, in the pre-war period, actually, Japanese houses lasted more.
ところが戦後人口が増えまして、住宅が足りない時代に供給を増やしていきましたが、その時に質が悪くなりました。
But after the war, the population started to increase, so there was a larger supply of houses. But through the bigger supply of houses, the quality of these houses has deteriorated.
大量供給の時代の住宅は立地も良くありません。
And when there was a huge supply of these houses, the location of these houses are not favorable as well.
で寿命も短く、質が伴っていなくて寿命も短く立地も悪いので使われず空き家になっている。
So the land span is shorter, the location is not good, the quality is poor, so that's the reason why they are left as vacant houses.
次に空き家の内訳を見ます。全体では820万戸ありました。
So let's look at the breakdown of the vacant houses. They were 8.2 million in total.
で、空き家には4つの類型があります。2013年で言いますと、まずこの売却用と賃貸用というのがあります。
So there are 4 categories for vacant houses. Let's take a look at 2013. First of all, there are houses to sell and to rent.
売却用賃貸用が460万戸ありますけれども、そのうち圧倒的に多いのが賃貸用です。429万戸。
So 4.6 million will be houses to sell and to rent, but out of these two, to rent vacant houses is by far the majority, 4.29 million.
したがって日本の空き家では賃貸用が一番多いのです。半分以上を占めています。
So in Japan, more than half of the vacant houses are houses for rent.
ただ売却用賃貸用は売るため貸すために所有者が一定の管理を行っていますので、これが危険な状態になって外部に悪影響を与えるという問題はこの時点ではありません。
But these vacant houses that are for sale or for rent basically have owners, and owners will manage these properties. So at this point, these houses leading to a dangerous situation, having a bad impact on the community. At this point, that will not happen.
で3番目の類型として二次的住宅、これが41万戸ありますけれども、これは別荘とかセカンドハウスです。
So another third category is the secondary houses. These are our second houses, villas. So there are 410,000 of these.
この統計では普段住んでいないものが空き家というふうに定義されていますので、二次的住宅はオーナーがいても普段住んでいるわけではないので、全て空き家にカウント。
So under the definition of this graph of this statistics, the definition is that when a person is not living in a house under normally, then it is counted as a vacant house. So in terms of these secondary houses, these second houses, these are counted as vacant houses.
この数は少ないんですけれども、別荘地ではこの要因で空き家率が高く。
So although the number is small, in areas that has a concentration of these second houses, the ratio of vacant houses tends to be high.
で今、日本の空き家問題で最も問題視されているのがこのそれ以外、売却用、賃貸用、それから二次的住宅以外のその他の部分で、これが318万戸あります。
So what is becoming an issue in Japan nowadays is the others houses, 3.18 million, which are not secondary houses, not houses to sell or to rent.
これは空き家になったにもかかわらず、売りに出しているわけでもなく、借り手を募集しているわけでもなく、二次的住宅でもない。
So these other houses, although they are vacant, are not up for sale, they are not seeking any tenants, and they are not secondary houses.
実はこのその他の部分だけがこの10年ぐらい増えていっています。
So as you can see, this others vacant houses in these past 10 years has been increasing in number.
その他の住宅、空き家というのは例えば高齢になって、長期的に病院に入院してその家が空き家になっていたりとか、あるいはその高齢者が老人ホームや施設に移ったことによって空き家になるとか、あるいはその高齢の人が死亡してしまって子供が引き継いだんだけれども子供は相続したけれどもそこに住んでいない、そういったものが例えば典型的なものです。
So a typical type of these others houses would be, for instance, the owner is an old person and they are in a hospital for a long term, so they are not living in the house. Or for instance, the senior person goes to a nursing home, so they're not living in their houses. So and if a parent passes away and the child inherits the house, but they do not live in that house, then that will be counted as others.
そ それでこのその他空き家全体で318万戸ありますけれども、その中身ですけれども、この2013年のところ見ていただきますと、木造の戸建てが220万戸で7割で、これが圧倒的に多い。
So in terms of the other vacant houses, 3.18 million in Japan, and if you look at the breakdown of this, about 70% of them are wooden standalone houses. So they are the majority of these type of houses.
でその他空き家木造戸建て220万戸のうちこの右側の部分ですけれども、腐食破損ありが80万戸あります。
So, and out of this 2.2 million wooden houses, vacant wooden houses to 2013, if you go to the right, those with wooden structures and are rotten and damaged is 800,000.
このすべてが問題なわけではありませんけれども、このうちの特に状態の悪いものを今回の法律では特定空き家に指定します。
So not all of them, of course, are troublesome, but under this act that has been implemented, the houses, especially in poor condition, will be designated as specific houses.
特定空き家に対する措置については後ほど説明します。
So in terms of the measures for the specific vacant houses, I would like to talk about that later.
で、日本全国で 13.5% の空き家率ですけれども、都道府県別で見ますと、一番高いのは山梨、長野ですけれども、これは空き家の4類型のうち別荘地ですので、別荘が多いという特殊なが多いんです。
So overall, the nationwide vacancy ratio ratio of vacant houses is 13.5%. And if you look at it by prefecture, you can see that Yamanashi and Nagano have the highest ratio. But because we have counted the second houses, the vacation houses, as the type of vacant houses, and Yamanashi and Nagano are places where people take holidays, that's the reason why they have a high ratio.
和歌山、それを除くと和歌山、高知、徳島といった人口減少の著しい県の空き家率はやはり高いです。
So if you exclude Yamanashi and Nagano, then it's followed by Wakayama, Kochi, Tokushima. These are the prefectures that are suffering a decline of population. You can see that the vacant house ratio is high in these type of prefectures.
今回の統計で一番低かったのは宮城、その他山形、福島といった東北の県が低くなっているのも、これも特別な要因がありまして、東日本大震災の影響です。
And in this survey, the prefectures that came out with low vacant house ratios were the Tohoku region prefectures such as Miyagi, Yamagata, and Fukushima. But there are special reasons behind this. This is due to the Great East Japan earthquake.
空き家の4つの類型のうち、賃貸用の物件の需給が逼迫いたしまして、その空き家がなくなったと。
So out of the four categorizations of the vacant houses, there was a tighter demand-supply situation for rental houses. So that's the reason why these prefectures came out with low numbers.
震災後に家を流された人が賃貸物件に移ったり、その後工事関係者の人が賃貸物件に住んで工事するといった要因です。
So the earthquake or the tsunami washed away a lot of people's houses. So these people started to live in rental houses. And after that, there was a lot of construction workers that came to the region for reconstruction works, and they lived in rental houses.
それを除くと東京、埼玉といった都会の人口がまだ減ってない県の空き家率は低いです。
So if we exclude these special factors, prefectures like Saitama, Tokyo, areas that the population is still increasing, these larger metropolitan prefectures, you can see that the vacant house ratio is low.
これが4つの累計全体の空き家率ですので、こういう特別な要因があるので分かりにくいのですが、今4つの累計のうちその他の空き家が一番問題というふうに申し上げたので、その他の空き家率、つまり全体の住宅に対するその他の空き家の比率、それを見ます。
So because this vacant house ratio includes all the four categories of vacant houses, these special factors will have an impact. So looking at the bar graph on the lower part of the slide, this is the ratio of other vacant houses among all the vacant houses.
それを見ると人口減少圏の空き家率が高いというのはよりはっきりとします。
So if you look at this, you can see that it's more clear that in the prefectures that the population is declining, the other vacant house ratio is higher.
しかしながら、すみません。 都会の方は東京が一番低くて、都会の方は低いです。
So for instance, Tokyo has the lowest number. You can see that the metropolitan area will have a lower vacant house ratio.
しかしながら、空き家率が低いからといって問題がないわけではありません。
But even though this ratio is low, it doesn't mean that there are issues.
都会では住宅が密集しています。
But in the city areas, the density of these houses are high.
したがって近所に崩れ落ちそうな危険な空き家が1軒でもあると非常に悪影響が大きいです。
So even if there is only one of these type of dangerous houses in the neighborhood, it may lead to serious issues.
したがって空き家率が高いところはもちろん問題ですけれども、低くても問題はあります。都会では住宅が密集しているからです。
So of course, areas with high vacant house ratio is an issue, but in the metropolitan and city areas, even though the ratio may be low because of the high density of the houses that are being built, again, this is an issue as well.
その他の空き家の数が一番多い、数が一番多いのは大阪で2番目は東京です。
In terms of the number of other vacant houses, Osaka is number 1 and Tokyo comes in as number 2 in terms of the number.
でこれは高齢化比率、横軸が高齢化比率、65歳以上の人口の割合、縦軸が住宅全体に対するその他の空き家の数を示しています。
So this graph plots on the horizontal axis the seniors ratio, that is the percentage of population over 65 years old against the whole population, and the vertical axis is the ratio of the other vacant houses against the whole number of houses.
高齢化比率が低く、その他の空き家率が低いのは東京です。
So the prefecture with the low seniors ratio and the low other vacant houses ratio is Tokyo.
高齢化比率が高く、その他の空き家率が高いのは高知です。
And the prefecture with the high seniors ratio and the high other vacant houses ratio is Kochi.
しかし今は低くても日本全体としてどの県も高齢化比率が上がっていきますので、このグラフは全体として右上にシフトしていきます。
So even though some prefectures are showing are plotted on the lower left-hand side of this chart, because the overall Japanese society is aging, it means that the seniors ratio will be increasing in each of the prefectures. Overall, these dots will be moving towards the right-hand side.
したがって今低い東京の空き家率も将来的にはだんだん高くなってきます。
So even though Tokyo has a low other vacant houses ratio, going forward, it will start to go up.
で東京都の空き家率は2013年で 11.1%、実は空き家率では上がっています。
And in terms of the vacant house ratio in Tokyo, it was 11.1% in 2013. It hasn't increased actually.
東京はの空き家率を北部と市町村部で見ますと、2013年時点で北部と市町村部、実は北部の方が高いんです。11.9%。市町村部は 10.9%。
So if you look at the vacant houses ratio in Tokyo, and if you divide it between the wards and 23 wards and municipalities, in 2013 actually the wards had a higher percentage, 11.2% against 10.9%.
これは東京の都心部に山手線の外側を中心に古い小規模な木造住宅が密集している地域があるから。
But this is because right alongside the peripherals of the Yamanote line, close to the center of Tokyo, there is a huge concentration of small-sized wooden standalone houses.
これがこの黄色い部分が木造住宅密集地域。
So the yellow color area is the area that has a concentration of wooden houses.
ここは敷地も狭く、道幅も狭く、なかなか古い建て替えが進んでいます。
So in these areas, the size of each of the houses are small, the width of the roads are narrow. It has been difficult to renovate or rebuild these areas.
したがって空き家率も高いのですが、これに対して東京都では東京オリンピックまでにこの状態を少しでも解消したいというふうに目標が掲げています。
So that's the reason the vacant house ratio is higher in these areas. The Tokyo municipal government has been saying that by the year of the Tokyo Olympics, they want to improve the situation.
で東京都の空き家の内訳を見ます。
So this is the breakdown of the vacant houses in Tokyo.
東京都の場合、実は全国と違って、この左上の部分、東京都、2008年と2013年で見ますと、その他については18.9万戸から15.2万戸で実は減っています。
Well, what is different from the other areas, if you compare Tokyo to other areas, if you look at the left-hand side, the two bars, Tokyo 08 and 2013, the others, the very topmost area of the bar, the others vacant houses has actually declined from 18.9, or there will be 18,900 to 15,200.
そういう意味では状態は改善しているのですが、それに対して賃貸用が 49.2 万戸から 59.8 万戸に増えています。
So the situation has been improving, but for those that category. But if you look at the houses for rent, it has been increasing from 49,200 to 49,200 to 59,800.
日本では全国東京都でも賃貸用の空き家の割合が多いのですが、これは地主が節税対策、相続対策で作るというケースが多い。
So Tokyo, compared to other areas of Japan, has a high ratio of these houses built for rent. This is because the landowners, for the tax reasons, to be able to reduce the taxes and to reduce the inheritance tax, build for rent houses on their land.
この2013年時点の東京都の賃貸用の空き家 59.8 万戸、まだ募集しているうちは、借りる人を募集しているうちは管理していますので問題はありません。
So, for instance, this number of to-rent houses in Tokyo in 2013, as long as they are asking for tenants and they are managing the property, then there is no issue.
ところが老朽化して募集もやめてしまうというケースが今後増えると思います。
But going forward, I'm anticipating cases that these for rent houses will become older and they will stop looking for tenants.
老朽化して募集をやめるとこの分類はその他にカウントされます。
And if these houses become older and if they stop looking for tenants, then these to-rent houses will be then go to the category of other vacant houses.
そういう潜在的な問題は東京都では。
In Tokyo, this potential, there is potential of this issue for this to become an issue.
東京ではもう一つ、分譲マンションの空室が増えているという問題もあります。
And in Tokyo, there is another issue. There is more and more vacant rooms in condominiums.
先ほどのその他の空き家は木造の一戸建てがほとんどですが、募集をやめた賃貸住宅、それから分譲マンションの空室といったようなものも含まれます。
So if you looked at the other vacant houses categories, most of it will be wooden standalone houses, but it includes for rent houses that has stopped looking for tenants and vacant rooms in condominiums as well.
日本の分譲マンションの老朽化は今後進んでいきまして、2014年時点では築50年超、あるいは40年から50年というのを合わせて44万戸ですけれども、これが20年後には急激に増えてきます。
So I think the aging of condominiums is going to be more and more of issue going forward. For instance, in 2014, more than 50 years or will be 44,000, but in 20 years' time, this number is going to go up a lot.
これは、建てられた、完成した年次別に分譲マンションの空室戸数の割合を示しています。
So this chart is comparing the year of completion and the composition ratio by number of vacancies.
例えば74年の完成ということですと、もう築40年以上経っているわけですけれども、そういった物件の空室率は10% を超えるというものが非常に多いです。
So, for instance, if the condominium has been completed in 1974, which means that has been built more than 40 years ago, then the ratio of vacancies will be more than 10%.
したがって今後分譲マンションの老朽化が進んでいって空室化が進んでいきますと、管理も行き届かなくなって一部のマンションは荒れ果ててスラム化していくという可能性も大都市東京では可能性が非常に高いです。
So in a big city like Tokyo, I think there is a high probability that these condominiums, if they become older, then there will be more and more vacant rooms. Then the management of these condominiums will not be sufficient. There is a high possibility that these will become like slums.
敷地に価値があれば、そこに建て替えたいという業者が現れますが、そうでない場合には、そのまま放置される可能性が高い。
So if the land in itself has value, then some property management company or the condominium developers may want to rebuild the condominium. But if that is not the case, these condominiums will be just left alone.
その時に誰がお金を出して解体するのかという問題は、今後20年、30年後に深刻化する問題と考えています。
So in 20 to 30 years' time, I think the issue of who is going to pay the money to demolish these old condominiums will become a serious issue.
これは空き家率の今後の推計を行ったものです。
So this is a assumption of the vacant house ratio for the future.
ケース1とケース2が全国東京都それぞれであります。
So there is scenario 1 and 2, both for the nationwide and Tokyo.
ケース1は新築をこのままの状態で現状で作り続けていって取り壊しのケースも現状のままだとすると20年後には空き家率が 30% 近くになります。
So scenario 1 is that the assumption is that the number of new houses will be the same as will be built at the same pace as now. The number of demolishing of the houses will be the same pace as right now. Then it shows that by 20 years, the vacant house ratio will reach close to 30%.
ケース2は新築を段階的に減らしていって現状の半分にする。取り壊しのペースを段階的に上げていって最終的に今の2倍にする。それでも空き家率は2割を超えます。
So scenario 2 is that reducing the number of building new houses by stage and ultimately bring down it to a half of the current level. And in terms of the number of demolishing the houses, gradually increasing that, ultimately bringing it to double the current level. Even in scenario number 2, you can see that the ratio will be over 20%.
新築を減らしても空き家率の上昇に歯止めがかからないのは2019年をピークとして世帯の数が減少していくという要因が大きいです。
So the reason why, although reducing the number of new houses will not able to halt the rise of the vacant house ratio, the reason behind this is that at 2019 at the peak, the number of households is going to decline.
東京都は今は全国よりも低いんですけれども、東京都の場合には全国よりも遅れて2025年をピークとして世帯数が減少していきます。
So in Tokyo, if you compare this line with the nationwide line, it's lower. But in Tokyo, the peak of the number of households is coming at 2025. So after that, this pace is going to accelerate.
これはしたがって東京都でもだんだん全国の数値、ケース1でもケース2でも全国の数値に追いついていきます。
So whether it be scenario 1 or scenario 2, gradually Tokyo will be catching up with the nationwide average.
次に空き家発生に伴う問題ですけれども、空き家の実態のうち、空き家を持っている人が今後それをどのようにしたいというふうに思っているのか、活用意向についてアンケートを行ったデータがあります。
So next is the problems arising from vacant houses. To get the grasp of the reality of vacant houses, there has been a questionnaire that has been circulated among people who asking how they want to utilize their vacant houses.
そうすると現状維持というのが 54.3% 一番多くて、次に多いのが親や子供、親族の利用に供したい 15.2%。いずれ誰かが利用するんであればそれは問題はありません。
So maintaining the status quo 54.3%, that has been the highest number, and 15.2% of the people said that in the future they will want some relatives or their children to utilize that. So if there are plans to use these vacant houses, then there is no problem.
しかし使わなくても賃貸の使わない場合に賃貸の入居者を募集するとか、これが 2.2%、購入者を募集したい 8.7%、こう流動化する、物件を流動化する、市場に乗せて流動化するというそういう考えの人は非常に少ないです。
But for instance, only 2.2% of people said that they want to find tenants to rent their houses or find a buyer, only 8.7%. So I think there are a very small portion of people that want to put their houses into circulation and put their houses into the market.
これを改善していくことが必要です。
So it is necessary to improve this situation.
で、空き家発生に伴ってどんな問題が発生しているかですけれども、上から老朽化して倒壊している、それから火災や延焼事故が発生、それから屋根や外壁が飛んだり発火している、こういったものがあります。
So this is a chart showing the problems arising from vacant houses. From the top, vacant houses becoming older, collapsing and causing accidents, fires occurring at vacant houses due to arson, strong winds not knocking over or blowing off roofs or walls, etc.
あと不審者の侵入や不法滞在、それからゴミの不法投棄、それから良好な景観を阻害している、こういった問題もあります。
And other issues would be, for instance, squatting or illegal intrusion into the houses, significant damage arriving at the vacant houses, repairing how the area looks, or some garbage, etc.
あと地方では使われず放置された空き家が多く、地域の活性化に支障をきたしているという問題もあります。
And in the regional areas, there is an issue that the abandoned vacant houses will impede the vitalization of that area.
で、空き家対策としては、危険な空き家を取り除いていく、撤去していくという方向性と、それからまだ使えるものを使っていくという、そういう2つの方向性があります。
So ways to deal with vacant houses, I think there are two ways to deal with it. One is demolishing dangerous vacant houses, and the second way is to utilize these vacant houses.
で、撤去に関しては、これまで自治体が空き家所有者に対して適正に管理をしてくださいという指導、勧告、命令、こういった内容を含む条例をこれまで作ってきました。
So in terms of the demolition, what the local governments has been doing is that towards the owners of these dangerous vacant houses, there have been ordinances issued that advised, warned, or made directives to these owners.
しかし、それ条例では十分ではなくなったので、今回国が法律を作った。
But this ordinance was not sufficient, so that's the reason why the central government made this into an act.
あと空き家を活用するためには地方の自治体を中心に空き家の物件を登録してこれをウェブ上にその情報を載せて移住者を募るという空き家バンクの取り組みが中心に行われています。
And another initiative is a so-called vacant house bank, which basically local government will list the vacant houses and list them on the website, letting people know that there are these type of vacant houses available.
で、これまでの条例ですけれども、これは各都道府県の自治体のうち何%の自治体が条例を空き家の管理条例を作っていたかを示すものです。
So in terms of the ordinances by the local government, this shows the percentage by each of the municipalities, how many of them has established these ordinances for vacant house management.
秋田、山形、新潟、これは雪国で冬場に空き家がそのまま管理されていないと大雪で倒壊してしまう危険性が高いので、これまで取り組みの比率が高かった。
So prefectures like Akita, Yamagata, and Niigata, well, these are prefectures that suffer from heavy snow in the winter. So if you just leave vacant houses as is, it's very dangerous. These houses will collapse under the snow. So that is the reason why they have been very active in these enforcements.
佐賀とか山口とかの人口減少圏の取り組みの比率も高かった。
And Saga, Yamaguchi prefectures where the population has been declining, they have been focused on this issue as well.
あと埼玉、千葉の大都市も上位に入っていますが、これは空き家率は低いんですけれども、密集しているために問題が大きいということになります。
And those more metropolitan prefectures like Saitama, Chiba, they come in at the upper ranking prefectures. They, in terms of the population, it's not declining, but these are the areas that has a high density of concentration of population. So they wanted to tackle these issues to prevent any hazardous or dangerous situations.
このように自治体によって取り組み度合いが違いましたが、今回法律によって一律に対応を取ることが自治体に求められることになりました。
And as you can see in the past, the way these prefectures or the local governments approach this issue was different. But because of this new act that is going to be implemented, it means that all of the local government will be asked to approach this issue in the unified manner.
重要なポイントは特定空き家というものを指定することです。
So the important point of this act is the designation of the so-called designated vacant houses.
特定空き家は倒壊するなど危険な状態になっている、あるいは衛生上有害、あるいは景観を損なっているといったものです。
So these designated vacant houses will be dangerous to public safety because they have a danger of being collapsed, or they will have some significant danger to the public health, or they will be impairing the view, etc.
住民からの通報や自治体自らの調査によって特定空き家を指定します。
So this vacant houses would be designated according to the proposal or the notification coming from the residents, or the local governments themselves will designate these houses.
でこの特定空き家に対してはこの下の部分ですけれども、自治体が立ち入り調査を行うことができます。
So for these designated vacant houses, the local governments can do on-site inspections.
その特定空き家に対しては指導、勧告、命令に従わない場合には過料というのが機能です。さらにその先には強制的に取り壊すという代執行の措置もあります。
So these local governments can offer advisories, warnings, directives to these vacant houses. If the owner does not follow these initiatives, penalties will be imposed. And if all does not work, measures can be taken in proxy. For instance, demolishing these houses can be conducted.
代執行の場合には強制的に取り壊して費用を所有者に請求することになります。
So if it is actions taken in proxy and the houses are demolished, then the cost will be billed to the owner.
で次に重要なポイントは特定空き家で勧告の状態になったものです。
So what is important is that in terms of these designated vacant houses and what happens when a warning is issued.
でこの2番目のところで特定空き家で勧告の状態になった時点で、固定資産税、住宅が建っていれば安かったんですけれども、その安いという措置を解除します。
So what would happen once these warnings are issued? These houses will not be offered the tax provisions. They'll be revoked for the lower tax rate that were offered if a house is built on top of a property.
で特定空き家状態が悪いまま放置していて勧告にも従わないと税金が固定資産税が高くなるという措置を取ることによって所有者に対してそうならないように事前に対応してくださいということを有効化を狙っています。
So the objective of this is that, for instance, if the owner leaves these designated vacant houses alone in a dangerous situation, they receive these warnings, but they do not act, then they will have to pay a higher property tax. So they want to make this as a warning towards the owner so that they should act before this revocation happens.
実際この法律制定後、空き家所有者は対応を急いでおり、効果が現れています。
And actually, after the promulgation of these measures, Act of the Vacant Houses Special Measure Act, the owners of the vacant houses are starting to take action, and I think some effect is being seen.
で今後の課題です。
Next, going to future issues.
で法律に合わせて空き家の管理してほしいというニーズも高まっているので、本人に代わって管理するビジネスも登場しています。
So with this implementation of the act, there is a heightened needs of people or owners who want somebody to manage their vacant houses. So there is a need for the vacant house management agents.
空き家所有者に代わって管理を月に1回定期的に巡回して窓を開けて空気を通す、それから水道を通して、あるいは簡単な清掃を行う、こういったサービス。
So these agents will offer services such as once a month periodic patrols, well, going into the house, opening the windows for ventilation, seeing where the plumbing works, cleaning, etc.
これは不動産事業者のほか、経理会社などいろんな業者が参入しています。
So a lot of type of companies are engaged in this business, real estate companies and security companies as well.
あと日本の中古の物件は質が悪くて流通しにくいんですけれども、まだ状態のいいもの、立地のいいものを発掘して、それを買い取って上で回収して、それを再販売するというビジネスも登場しています。
And the used houses in Japan tend to be in poor, in terms of location, they are not in a good location. The quality tends to be low. But there is a business that is emerging to find good condition used houses and then buy it up, then renovate it, then resell it.
まあ大都市では中古マンションを中心でして、地方では戸建てについてもそういうビジネスが現れています。
So in the major metropolitan areas, mainly this is for the used condominiums, but in the regional areas, this business is happening for the detached houses as well.
こういうビジネスが成長していくと、中古の流通比率もだんだん高まっていくというふうに考えられます。
So if this type of business grows, I think that the used house market, the circulation in this used house market is going to grow.
より長期的な課題としては次のようなものです。
For more longer-term issues, I will have listed these.
日本で空き家が増えている要因としては、高度成長期に住宅を増やしましたけれども、人口減少の時代になって、そういった増やした住宅のうち条件の悪くなったものがどんどん空き家になっています。
And what has happened in terms of the Japanese housing market is that when the population was growing during the high growth era in Japan, there has been a lot of houses built in the more locations that were not advantageous, and that those houses has become vacant.
そういった条件、特に立地の悪い地域に空き家に人を呼び込むのは難しいので、人口減少時代においては市街地そのものをコンパクトに縮減していくという必要性が非常に高いです。
So it will be very difficult to try to attract people to these vacant houses that are located in those suburban areas. So when in a situation that the population is shrinking, I think it is important to shrink the urban areas.
そういう意味では地方とか郊外とか条件の悪い地域ではゴーストタウンになってしまうのもやむを得ないということになります。
So in that sense, I think it is unavoidable that the urban or regional cities or the suburban areas will become ghost towns.
それから日本では今まで中古の質が低くて安心して買えませんでしたので、安心して買える仕組みを作っていく、その評価をして安心して買える仕組みを作っていくことも重要です。
And it has been a situation that the used houses in Japan, the quality was poor, so people will not feel safe buying these used houses. But it is important to establish a system to evaluate these used houses.
で、日本では空き家は多いんですが、新築も建てられているので、どうしても需要は新築に向かいがちです。
And in Japan, there are a lot of vacant houses, but more than that, there are new houses in the supply. So the demand tends to go to the new houses.
中古に需要を向かわせるために改修費を補助する、あるいは住宅ローン減税で優遇する、こういった措置も今後は必要かと思います。
So to be able to support the purchase of used houses going forward, initiatives such as preferential subsidies for renovation costs and tax break for home loans for used houses has to be implemented.
今、法律に基づいて撤去あるいは利活用、この短期的な施策は講じられていますが、長期的にはこういう施策が必要です。
So in the short term, because of the implementation of the act, in terms of the demolition of these used houses and the utilization of these houses has been more or less addressed. But in the long term, these are the issues that we will have to address.
以上で私の話を終わります。どうもご清聴ありがとうございました。
So this ends my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
米谷さんどうもありがとうございました。 それではこれから質疑応答に入りたいと思います。質問は外国プレスの方からお受けをいたします。質問はお一人一問とさせていただきますので、よろしくお願いいたします。質問のある方は、挙手していただき、指名されましたら、ハンドマイクを使ってお名前とご所属を述べてから、質問をお願いいたします。
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Yoneyama. Let's go into Q&A. I would like to receive questions from the foreign press. If you have one question per one person, please. If you have a question, please raise your hand. I will appoint you, and the microphone will go to you. Please state your name and your organization.
以上です。
インドネシアの新聞記者なんですけれども、リチャード・スシロと申しますが、一つだけ簡単な質問なんですけれども、これは一番の大きな問題だと思いますので、これは固定税の話なんですけれども、家が潰したら、取り壊したら、6倍目高くなるなんです、この税ですね。これ一番おかしいだと思いますので、いつかこの法律なくなる可能性がありますでしょうか。なぜというか、私の考えは簡単なんですけれども、空き家ね、もしその空き家の、建物を壊したら、問題ありませんなんですけど、どういうこと、空き家に増えてきましたら、安全性がものすごいリスクがね、高くなるじゃないですか。犯罪とかいろいろとかね、警察も少なくなるとかね。こういうことをしないように全部その空き家が壊して、家がなかったらそれは安全は安定しているじゃないですか。そういうことのだから理由が本当におかしいですね。この固定税ですね、6倍高くなる、そういうことを可能性がなくなるの、このおかしいのものすごいおかしいなんですけども、税が可能性がありますでしょうか、将来的には。
Well, thank you very much. I am Susilo from Indonesia. I would like to ask a question in terms of the property tax. Right now, if you demolish the vacant house, then it means that you have to pay 6 times the property tax. And I think this is very strange, considering the fact that if you leave the vacant houses as it is, it's a risk. It is in terms of increase of crime, etc., for the community. So, from a safety perspective, it is better to demolish these houses. But the tax says that if you demolish the house, then you have to pay 6 times more of property tax. Do you have any idea that this type of tax system will change in the future?
これは今回の法律の改正に伴う税制改正で、措置されています。
Actually, the measures has been taken with the tax system reform has been conducted.
この27ページのスライドですけれども、この税制上の措置です。
So please turn to page 27 of my presentation. This is the tax measure.
この特定空き家全体ではないんですけれども、空き家のうち特に状態の悪いもの、特定空き家に指定されまして、でそれに対して、指導勧告というふうにだんだんこの所有者に対して、注意が喚起されるわけですけれども、この勧告の状態になったときに住宅用地特例が解除されて、住宅が建っていても税金が安いという状態がなくなります。したがってこの段階で住宅が建っていても固定資産税は更地と同じという状態。
So this tax measure is for the designated vacant houses, not all vacant houses, but designated vacant houses. And in terms of the to the owners, first, if they do not respond, then first they get advisories. Then it is stepped up to warnings. And if they do not act after receiving warnings, then their residential land use provisions will be revoked, meaning that at that point, even if there is a house on top of the land, the level of tax imposed will be the same as vacant land. So they will not be able to enjoy the lower tax rate.
家が建っていても特定空き家という状態が悪くて、しかも勧告という状態になるともう税金を高くするので、そうならないようにきちんと 管理してくださいというそういう意図ですね。
So the objective of this type of action of this tax reform is that if the house is vacant, but if the condition is bad, then if you receive this warning, then you will not be able to enjoy tax breaks. So before you reach that stage, please take care of the house. So that's the objective of this tax reform.
Yes.
Elaine Kurtenbach, Associated Press. Thank you for explaining a lot of details about this. It seems to me that one of the biggest factors in the Japan housing situation is the low quality of the housing construction, which means that the used house market is, as you point out, very minimal. People don't want to live in old houses because the quality is so poor. What are the prospects for that changing? Or is it going to remain the way it is now, where there's all this vested interest in among the contractors in just building and building and building new homes and trashing the old ones in a very unsustainable way? Thank you.
非常に詳細なプレゼンテーションありがとうございます。やはりおっしゃったように日本でその中古住宅市場が拡大していくの一つの一番大きな要因がいわゆるその住宅の品質が非常に低いということだと思うんですね。例えばその古い住宅で品質が古いとならばそれを買おうとそこに住みたいと思う人もいなくなるわけなんですけれども、このような状態は今後改善されるんでしょうか。それともやはりその建設業者の方で新築住宅をどんどん建てていって中古の古いものをそのままほっとくというようなインセンティブが働いているというような状態が続く限りはこのような状態はなかなか改善されないんでしょうか。どのようなお考えをお持ちでしょうか。
制度面では改善が図られています。2000年ぐらいに住宅性能表示制度というふうな仕組みが作られまして、その建てた住宅がいろんなチェック項目があるんですけれども、どれぐらいの品質なのかを表示する仕組みがあります。それから長期有料住宅制度というのがありまして、長持ちする住宅を作ると税制上その他いろんな面で優遇されるという仕組みも作られました。
Well, in terms of the various systems that it has been implemented, for instance, in 2000, there has been a system implemented so that there is a kind of a checklist to show the performance and the quality of the houses. So we can offer what type of quality that is satisfying. And there is another tax regime that allows a tax break for people who buy the long-term excellent quality houses, and these houses, if they are designated or qualified as these type of houses, they'll be able to get a tax break. So in terms of the regimes, they are already there.
しかしまだ全体の住宅のうちのごくわずかです。
But that said, the type of houses that fit and oblige these standards are very, very small against the overall number of houses.
しかし今大手のハウスメーカーではそういう長持ちする住宅を建てて住宅を建てた手入れの状況などの履歴の情報を残して中古として安心して買える仕組みを作っているメーカーも増えています。
But currently there are more and more major house makers. For instance, after they build a house, they will record the history of how much care that has been given to the house, so that when it is sold as a used house, people can feel safe to buy that house. Those type of measures are taken more and more by major housing makers.
中小の事業者はまだそこまで対応できてないです。
But for the smaller house makers, they are not doing that yet.
最近作られた住宅はだんだんこういう仕組みで改善は図られていますが、問題は古くてそういう仕組みがそもそもなかった時代の住宅です。
And for the houses that are being built nowadays, there are these type of measures that are taken. But the problem are the older houses, the houses that have been built before and there have been no type of evaluation in the past.
そういう住宅は消費者が選ぶのも難しいですし、安心して買えないので、今ビジネスとして先ほど言いましたように、そういう古い住宅でも安心して買えるように、業者が古い住宅を仕入れて回収して、再販売する、その時に保証するという仕組みで安心感を与えているというものも出ています。
So in these type of houses, it will be the consumers will not feel safe to buy these houses, and it's very difficult to make that evaluation by the consumers. So there's a type of business that is arising that I have mentioned in my presentation. There are businesses that will buy up these used houses, they will renovate those houses, and then they will resell it to the market, offering a guarantee to the quality.
それが普及していけば古い住宅でも安心して買えるようになるかもしれません。
So if this system becomes more and more popular, I think people will feel more safe to buy old houses.
ただ立地が悪かったり、そもそも質が悪いものは利用できないので、それでも有料化できるのは限られるとは思います。
But that said, old houses or vacant houses in locations that are not good, low quality, they will not be able to be used that way. So I think that will remain as an issue.
Robin Harding from the Financial Times. Could you comment on this issue from the perspective of town planning? How do you avoid a situation where there's large areas where many houses are empty, but a few are still occupied, and the city ends up being very low density and spread out and not compact? Is that also an issue which needs to be addressed in regard to vacant houses? Thank you.
ありがとうございます。ファイナンシャルタイムズのハーディンと申しますけれども、これ都市計画の観点から見ていかがなんでしょうか。例えば、非常にたくさんの空き家があって、ほんの数個しか人が住んでなくて、それが広い場所にこうやって分散し広がってしまっている、そのコンパクトな街づくりになっていないということがもうそういった状態を避けるということにはこれつながってくるんでしょうか。そういった面からもこういった空き家問題というものを考える必要性があるんでしょうか。
都市計画の問題は非常に重要です。
Well, the issue about town planning is important, very important.
特に地方の都市では高度成長期にある程度拡大したんですけれども、その後の人口減少が著しいので、すべての市街地を維持することが困難になっています。
Especially in the regional cities during the economic boom era, the town has spread it out. But after the population has started to shrink, it has become very difficult for them to sustain that suburban area.
例えば広い市街地の道路、水道、下水道、そういったインフラを維持するためには莫大な費用がかかりますが、それは財政的に困難になりつつあります。
For instance, it takes a lot of money to maintain the infrastructure of a town, whether it be plumbing or the roads, etc. But they do not have that financial strength to do so.
したがって今地方の都市を中心にコンパクトな街づくりを進めようとしていまして、国土交通省もそれを推進しています。
And especially in the regional cities, what they're trying to do is to make their town more compact. And the Ministry of Land, Transportation, and Infrastructure is supporting and promoting that initiative.
それと空き家対策をリンクさせるとすると次のようになります。
And if this is going to be linked to measures for vacant houses, I think what I mentioned is going to happen.
今後も残していく市街地の中で利活用可能なものがあれば、それは積極的に活用していく。
So if there are vacant houses that can be utilized in the town area that is going to be maintained, then these vacant houses should be proactively utilized.
でその中で残念ながら所有者による撤去、自主的な撤去が望めないものがあったとすると、それは公費を投入して撤去していく必要もあるかもしれません。
But for instance, if the owners are not willing to demolish the houses, that has to be taken away to be able to build the town, then in those cases, maybe public money will have to be spent to demolish these houses.
したがって空き家対策の資金もすべての市街地に投入できるわけではなく、重点化して今後も市街地として残す地域に投入していく必要があります。
So in terms of the money that is going to be spent for measures for vacant houses, I think it's not going to be spread out to take care of every vacant house that is out there. It is going to be focused on the areas of the town that is going to be maintained and sustained in the future town planning.
Thank you. I'm Jonathan Sobel from the New York Times. I'm curious about the what seems to be a very large gap between prefectures where they are enforcing the Akiya measures to designate houses as potentially dangerous or in need of being removed, and those that aren't. You mentioned snowy prefectures like Akita that have a special reason to do it, but on your chart, some of the prefectures that have very high rates of abandoned houses, like in Shikoku, have, I mean, below what looked like 5% enforcement for these measures. Could you tell me why that's the case? Is it simply, are the local governments not motivated, or, for example, are there legal or bureaucratic obstacles to actually getting a house designated as Tokute Akiya for them to be able to actually do something about it?
ありがとうございます。ニューヨークタイムズの総務と申しますけれども、その地域によってその特定空き家に、その指定するということに随分差があるように思うんですけれども、例えば秋田のようなそういう雪国で特殊な理由があって積極的にやっている、そういう非常に高い割合で執行しているというところもあるようなんですけれども、例えばその非常に空き家率が高い四国などの方で逆に5% でしょうか、そのチャートを見ると執行率が低いように思うんですけれども、これは何か特別なその地域でのその地方自治体におけるそういった法的な問題があるのか、何かそのような感情的な障壁があるのか、なぜそういう地域のその特定空き家の指定のギャップというものが出てくるんでしょうか。
これ例えばこの空き家管理条例ですけれども、この施行率は地域によって違うと思うんですけれども、空き家率が高い四国では空き家率自体は高いんですが、多分人口が減少していますから家と家との間も離れています。
So yes, this is the chart I think you have been looking at, enforcement ratio by prefecture, and you mentioned Shikoku. It is true that they have a high proportion of vacant houses, but because the population is decreasing in Shikoku, there's a lot of space between these vacant houses.
したがって空き家率が高くても密集していないので、近隣に与える悪影響が小さいということです。
So even though they have a high ratio of vacant houses, but it's not concentrated, it means that even if there's a vacant house, the possibility of having a bad impact in the neighborhood is lower in those areas.
したがって自治体、例えば四国とか九州の自治体では撤去の必要性としてのその空き家管理条例、撤去を進める施策としての空き家管理条例の施行率は低いんですけれども、低いです。
So in regions such as Shikoku and Kyushu, I think that's the reason why the enforcement of these ordinances to demolish these vacant houses are low.
だけども人口減少を食い止めたいというそちらの方の重要性が高いので、空き家に人を呼び込むという施策を重点的にやった。
But they are more desperate in trying to stop the decline of the population. So I think their motivation is more on trying to attract people to occupy these vacant houses.
それは管理条例ではなくて空き家バンクの方を重点的にやった。
So for that, they focus not on these ordinances for vacant house management, but they're trying to set up these vacant house banks.
Süddeutsche Zeitung Neidal. Japan has not only a problem of vacant houses, but also in some areas, in some regions, a problem of vacant factory buildings or shopping centers. Even I know of a town where in the town center there is a vacant shopping center. Do you have any numbers on that problem, and could you comment on it? Thanks.
そうですね、日本ではその空き家だけではなく、例えばその工場がその空き地になっても工場が閉鎖されてしまってそこが空いていたりですとか、ショッピングセンター、ショッピングモールが閉鎖されて、そのままにされているという問題もあると思うんですけれども、私の知っている事例では割合のその都心部、地方の都心部でもそのショッピングセンターが空いているところもあったりするんですけれども、それについて何か統計的な数字など持っていらっしゃいますでしょうか。
数字は今持ってないですが、工場の空き地はですね、リーマンショックの後のその急激な円高で国内生産できず海外に移転した企業が多かったので、その関係で多くなったという経緯があります。
Well, I don't have any specific numbers at hand right now, but to your point, the reason why there has been an increase of vacant factory plots, this was after the global financial crisis, because of the sudden and rapid appreciation of the yen. A lot of companies has transplanted their manufacturing centers from Japan to overseas.
今円安ですけれども、円安になったからといってすぐに国内に戻ってくるわけではないので、この状態は解消されそうにありません。
And now the yen has become weaker, but it's not the case that you can suddenly relocate those overseas manufacturing plants to Japan right away. So this, I think, situation is continuing right now.
ショッピングモールで空き店舗が目指すところは、古い郊外のショッピングモールとか、あと中心部の商店街もそうです。
So, for instance, in the shopping malls, if it's in the older shopping malls in suburban areas, yes, there are a lot of vacancies. And even if it's in the town center, there's a lot of vacant shopping centers.
日本では大規模な店舗が比較的容易に作られる時代があったので、新しいショッピングモールがどんどんできて、古い商店街とか、あるいは古いショッピングモールがどんどん空き店舗になっている。これはそういう規制の問題があります。
So this is more related to regulation because there was a time that it was easier to build these large-scale shopping malls in Japan. So there was these huge shopping malls that were built, and that meant that these older shopping centers, shopping streets became vacant.
I'm Anthony Rowley, Singapore Business Times. The picture you paint is a rather sad one, actually, of declining population, people shifting from the urban areas and smaller towns to Tokyo and Osaka and so on. Has anyone suggested that the public sector in Japan should play a more active role in house building? In other words, more attractive developments to encourage people that would encourage people to stay in the some of the declining areas, and what is the ratio of public housing to private housing overall like in Japan compared to other countries?
今おっしゃっていただいた話、少しちょっと悲しくなるようなことなんですけれども、人口は減り、地方からより都市、東京ですとか大阪へのそういった人口の流入が続いているということなんですけれども、もしかして公的部門がよりこういったより魅力的な住宅を建てる意味で積極的な役割を果たすということは考えられないんでしょうか。また数字として他の国と比べて日本における住宅の公共住宅といわゆる民間の住宅のその割合というようなそのような数字というものを持ち合わせていらっしゃいますでしょうか。
その数値は持ってないんですけれども、日本の戦後の住宅政策の特徴は、戦後住宅が不足して、その後高度成長期も住宅が不足したんですけれども、公的な住宅ではなくて民間による住宅建設、つまり自ら家を持つという施策に重点を置いてきたことが大きな特徴でした。
Well, I don't have the number in terms of the breakdown between public and private housing, but I think one characteristic of the housing strategy policy of Japan after the war was that first there was a lack of houses after the war, and after the economic boom era, again there was a lack of houses. So the focus was building, the private sector building houses and people owning those houses. The focus was on that.
公的な住宅が作られ、その時に公的な住宅が作られれば質は今よりも高かった可能性はあります。
And there is a possibility that if back at that time there was more public houses supplied, then maybe the quality of the houses would have been better.
ただ日本では公的な住宅を建てるという財政支出をするよりは、自ら住宅を取得するときにその定理で融資を受けられる、そういう資金的な支援が中心でした。
But in Japan, in terms of the commitment of the public sector, it was not the public sector spending their finances to build public housing. It was more supporting the Japanese people to buy houses in terms of their offering low-rate mortgage loans. That was the way the public supported the Japanese people.
住宅を取得することは、あと人生の上でも大きな目標として、勤労意欲も高めるという効果も、あったのだと思います。
And I think another reason was that owning a house or buying a house was a big target in one's life. So that will enhance one's motivation to work and earn money.
民間で供給される住宅は質はそういうあまり良くなかったんですけれども、それでも多くの人がそれを買ったのは、建物の質は高くなくても土地は必ず上がる、土地神話というそういう時代があったので、先に住宅を取得しておけば建物の価値はなくても土地は必ず上がるので、損することはなかったのでみんな買ったのです。
And the quality of the houses offered by the private sector was not good. But even so, the reason why the Japanese people bought these houses was that, yes, they knew, maybe they agreed that the quality of the houses was not that great, but the land was important for the Japanese people, because Japanese people believe that as long as you have land and you have wages, then the value of land will appreciate. So they will buy the house with the land, and then even if the value of the house will go to nothing, they'll be able to wait until the value of the land appreciate.
ですから供給側だけが悪いわけではなくて、供給側にとってはもちろんどんどん建て替えられれば仕事が減らないということで都合はいいんですけれども、買う方にとっても建物の価値がなくても土地の価値があるので損はしなかったっていう、供給側、需要側の双方の要因で日本の住宅がスクラップ&ビルドで建てては壊し、寿命が短いという状態が作り出されてきました。
So I think the reason why Japan's housing market goes through the scrap and build cycle, and the lifespan of these houses were short, is both on the supply side and the demand side, the people who bought the houses as well. For the supplier of the houses, as there was a lot of turnover in terms of houses they can build, that was great for them. But for the people who bought these houses, on the demand side, as I think basically they thought that even if the quality of the house was not good, as long as they have the land, they're not at a loss.
それは高度成長期にみんながハッピーになる仕組みだったんですが、今は人口減少、局面が変わりましたので、そういう寿命の短い質の良くない住宅が空き家になっているという社会問題が深刻になっている。
So as long as the economy was growing, this cycle worked great for everybody. But right now, the tables will turn. The population is declining, meaning that these low-quality vacant houses where nobody wants to live in has remained, and that has become a social issue.
したがって日本でも公的に住宅の性能を高める仕組みがだいぶ遅れたんですけれども、ようやく取り組み始めたと。
So that's the reason why, although belatedly, right now the public sector has started to implement a system that evaluates the quality of the houses. I think that's the reason behind this.
韓国の SBS のチェと申します。よろしくお願いします。実は韓国も空き家とか高齢化とか人口減少の問題が全く同じですから、本当に興味深いです。また空き家が増加しているのに新築住宅も増加している。もう一つはそれにもかかわらず家賃は全然低くならない状態。そんな不思議な状態が本当に同じなんですけれども、なのでちょっと、住宅市場に対して、政府とか、自治体とか公的な、影響力または役割がちょっと低いなんじゃないかと思いますけれども、例えば公営住宅とか公営賃貸住宅とか、それを割合が日本でどれぐらいなのかちょっと気になってます。またはそれと空き家の抑制 と関連があるかどうかについて聞きたいんですけれども、よろしくお願いします。
Well, thank you. I'm Chair from South Korea, and I think the situation that you have talked about, the population declining, the increase of vacant houses, is exactly the same as in South Korea. And even though that is the two factors are in place, in South Korea we have not seen a situation that the rental level is going down. So I think that's strange, but again, that's the same situation between South Korea and Japan. And my question is that, in terms of the involvement of the public sector, is maybe that was not that prominent in terms of for the housing market and these real estate related market. But do you know the ratio of public housing lots, like public rental properties in Japan, and can this be related to the measures for vacant houses?
日本での公的住宅の比率の数値は持ってないんですが、日本では持ち家率が7割ぐらいです。
Well, I don't have the number of the percentage of public housing in Japan, but in Japan, 70% of the houses are privately owned.
したがって公的住宅の比率は非常に低い。
So that means the ratio of public housing is very low.
公的住宅には代表としては、その住宅弱者、所得が低くて自分で十分な住宅に住めないっていう時にの県営住宅とか市営住宅、そういったものがあります。
So this the typical public housing in Japan is, for instance, the houses built by prefectures or municipalities that is offered to the people that are low-income families.
しかし日本ではその数が少ないので、そこに入居するための倍率が非常に高いという状況になっています。
But the number of these type of houses, the supply of these number of houses is very small. So there is a huge competition to get into these public houses.
で、その供給を増やしていかないといけないんですけれども、今公営住宅も高度成長期に建てられたものが老朽化して建て替え問題が浮上しています。
So then we have to increase the supply of these type of houses, but again, there is an issue about these public housing projects as well, because those of these buildings or houses that were built during the economic boom, they have become older. So right now, we have to rebuild these public projects.
しかし財政的に全てを建て替えることが難しいので、公営住宅が不足している一方、民間の賃貸住宅あるいは空き家がたくさんありますので、それを活用したらどうかっていうアイデアが出てきます。
But it would be very difficult for the municipalities to financially rebuild all of these public housing. So there are some proposals coming, for instance, using these rental houses, or there's a lot of vacant houses out there to for these type of housing projects.
これはヨーロッパでは一般的な仕組み、あるいはヨーロッパ、アメリカでは一般的な仕組みだと思いますが、住宅弱者が民間の住宅に住むときに家賃補助をする仕組みがあると思います。
So I think this is a system that is common in Europe and the United States. There is a scheme that the low-income families, when they go into this private housing, they'll be able to get rental subsidies on the rental level.
日本ではそういった仕組みはこれまで非常に限定的にしかなかったんですけれども、そういう仕組みを日本でも作っていって空き家を活用するというアイディアは今後有効だと思います。
And in Japan, no such scheme has existed. But going forward, as an idea to utilize these vacant houses, I think implementing or introducing this scheme will be effective.
ただ問題は国土交通省は公営住宅の建て替えには補助金とか支援してますけれども、民間の物件の活用に関してはそれほど支援してないという問題があります。
But there is an issue here. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transportation, if it is the rebuilding of the public housing projects, they will support them financially, but they do not offer any support for the utilization of these private houses.
そろそろ時間でございますので、もしよろしければ最後の質問をお受けしたいと思いますが。
So I think the time is up. If possible, this will be the last question.
じゃあ、張さん。
最後に答えが出たと思いますけど、私韓国の張と申します。 資本主義の社会で個人財産を強制的に壊すんだとか、そんな状況でその前に民間でも補助金とかそれを支援する何かはないんですか？
So I'm still from South Korea. My question is that, we have talked about the forcibly demolishing these private properties. Well, this is being conducted under a capitalism system. But even if before you reach that level or that stage, aren't there any schemes, for instance, offering some subsidies or support for these private houses?
空き家に対してのいろんな意味での支援策はありますが、まず危険な空き家は除却しないといけないんだけれども、自分でお金を出せない場合には補助金で撤去費を一部支援するという仕組みがあります。
Well, there are various support and subsidies offered for vacant houses. For instance, people who want to demolish these private houses but do not have the financial means, there is a system that some financial support, partial financial support is offered for the demolishment.
ただそれは最初から支援を受けられるというふうに分かっていると誰も自分で撤去したくなるので、その問題が大きいのであまり大規模にはできません。
But I think this cannot be utilized in a major manner because if people know that they'll be able to get financial support when demolishing the vacant houses, they won't do anything. So I think this will not be a mainstream way to manage this.
利用に関しては先ほどの公営住宅で家賃補助という仕組みはまだこれは国ではできてないんですけれども、地方で空き家バンクでそういう仕組みを設けている例があります。
Well, on the nationwide level, central government level, there is no scheme, for instance, to offer support subsidies for the people when they want to utilize these vacant houses instead of going into public houses. But in the regional areas, it is utilized as a vacant house bank.
空き家バンクに住もうとする人に対して改修費を補助したり、あるいは家賃補助をするという仕組みが地方の自治体では多く取り入れています。
And a lot of local governments are introducing the scheme that they offer support for the renovation or the rent for people who will renovate and want to live in the vacant houses that is listed in the vacant house bank.
したがってこういう財政支援で空き家問題を解決するという取り組みも出てきています。
So there are some initiatives to try to address this issue of vacant houses through these financial means.
それではお時間過ぎておりますので、本日のブリーフィングはこれで終了させていただきます。米山さんどうもありがとうございました。
So, Mr. Yoneyama, thank you very much.